Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This is D.O.P. Alright, today in this video I want to make a card grading from scratch. I want to make this tutorial especially for the upcoming day beginners. You know what I'm going to tell you today, a lot of things being explained on my masterclass tutorials, but I would love to come and give you a little bit of what's being taught in today. So there's a couple basic things we need to discuss, especially for the beginner characteristics. You know, this is not for the pro, this is for the starters. So yeah, without me wasting time, please subscribe my YouTube channel. I beg. You know, I've been a long time, I've been doing a tutorial, and today is fortunately I have able to come out on the desk and do this grade. All right, as you can see right now we are into DaVinci Resolve, and as you can see so far we have this footage. Actually this video I found it was already Rec 79, but I converted to the to this log format in order me to get room to do anything that I wish to do. All right, so there's 4 stages that you need to know when you color grading, especially for the beginner. I'm giving you the basic stages. The first stage is color management. Make sure you proper you prepare well your color grading, the starter positions, to where to know where you're able to go. Yeah, and another thing is doing a color corrections, like doing some balances and everything, saturations, everything that's coming to the color corrections. And another thing that you have to know is about creating looks creativity, and there's most of people are using looks. So if you have a problem on creating looks, you can contact me at the time, so I'm able to give you the looks that I have, so you're able to, you know, working with a different type of look DNAs. And the last stage is, which is more for the people that's shifting from beginner to the a little bit of amateur, or sometimes they go straight to the professional levels. There we call secret sources, and that stage everyone has its own stylish of creating image. But to me, we're gonna have to work with these 3 stages, which is very basic. So the stage number 1, as I told you, is color management, and the better one of color management of doing this is make sure you are setting color management set it to DaVinci white gamut. This is very simple using, and it really working nice for the most of projects. And professional colorists, they sometimes they use different tools, but I recommend you to use DaVinci white RGB if you are a beginner, you are starting using DaVinci Resolve. To me, I'm using sRGB. This is my output. It's also Rec 79, but you can use just any Rec 79, Gamma 2.2, 2.4, whatever that is give you better result for your computer, because this sometimes depends on DaVinci itself and what type of PC you have. So to me, this one are working proper to my image, and I'll make another tutorial about Rec 79 stuff, and in the next tutorial maybe you can understand it better about these things. Into this part, what I'm doing so far is using this node called color space transformation. And actually you can see there's a lot of option right in today, but the basic option is to tell this footage is being shot with this camera, and I want you this footage to be this outputs. That's the main reason of this one. And it's some people, they just convert into this camera into another camera, and then they bring back to the Rec 79. And you can also do that by just telling I'm being shot with this camera, and you just put it to the Rec 79. There's a different way of doing this, but I'm giving the basic one, which is this one. I'm gonna select Alexa. I don't know what camera shot with this. Actually, I just assumed, and then I convert it to sRGB, because as you remember I told you before, sRGB is my outputs. And I often like to come with the gamma mapping method, saturation, compression, in case my footage has a bit of extra saturation. The saturation is skipping, so I love to click that part to give me better compression to the saturation. So as you can see, this is our Rec 79. As you can see so far, it's just much of the exposure, the balance is not properly, too much light. So there's one thing we have to do to make it looks well in balance, and that is a second stage, which is color corrections. So to the color corrections, what we focus is mostly when it comes to the color grading is make sure you got a proper balance of lights, perfect contrast, as well as with the saturations and temperature. The fourth thing that we focus mostly when it comes to the color correction. First, I have to make sure the balance of light is coming proper well, and coming to the temperature, make sure it's balanced well, coming to the contrast as well with the saturations. That is nothing much extra, but sometimes I'm using that scenario to create pre-grading. I often like to call it pre-grading. What is the pre-grading exactly? Is I'm telling my output, my final output is going to be like this at the time we are doing correction. Let's say like this. Maybe I want some warm tone. The time I'm doing color corrections, I make sure I'm doing correcting, but I don't take off mostly of the warmer to my correction, because I want that correct warm to be presented to my my third stages, which is creating looks. I'm using that technique. So if you're going to use that the same method, it's really gonna help you. So color correction is not about to make everything looks proper. Sometimes it's to tell things like, I want to go this place, so I'm creating better place, or I'm creating wide place for you to decide what I want you to be. So that's it. All right, so let's go to the color correction. As I told you, this was CLT, and I'm going to call this correction, which is, as I told you, I'm gonna play around with first is exposure. I'm gonna use offset to balance the exposure properly, and I'm gonna use gain, gamma, little bit of lift, and as well as I told you about white balance, I really want the looks to be neutral looks, so I don't want that warmer. So I'm gonna bring a little bit, so much magenta, push it to the green, and a little bit of saturation, but I don't want that saturation to affect the skin tone, so I'm gonna reduce saturation to the skin, a little bit of yellowish somewhere on here. So this is my second stage. As I told you, this is color correction. You can see before and after. I've been done a little bit of a twisted, and exactly what I've done so far is just I'm telling my color grading that's what type of looks that I want is to get. And I on my mind I was like, I want something vibrant, I want something clean, commercial grade, something beauty looks. So there's no need for me to put a lot of the bluish tone or make a cool or tint or greenish tone or film tone from a basic. These are my starting point. That's what I just tried to tell you about color correction. It's not about to correct everything to look perfect, but sometimes to give the attention to the color grading stages, creative look stages. That's why I'm saying color correction is a pre-grading, creating pre-looks. Hope you get what I'm talking about. All right, so another stage that's how we're going. The third stage is creating looks. These stages of creating looks, it have three stages. That's how I can say that. The first stage is to make color print. What is the color print exactly? It's something that you do color above the color. Like I already done my color grading, so I have to do the color top of it. That's a painting. And another thing is split toning. The split toning is to make sure you you do the color contrast, like dynamics, color separation, like the four subjects on the background. Either the subject has to be pop, the background has to be faded, or the subject has to be fade, background has to pop. This color that complements it. This is all about color complementing that stage. And another stage, which is doing vibrance to the image. What the vibrance done is also do the separations, and also give the idea of overall color grading. And that is all about hue adjustments, increasing saturation, this part, maybe do some maskings, vignette, and notes, qualifications, maybe the skin out to pop the skin, or make the skin darker, whatever you want to do, that stage. So sometimes you can apply all these stages to the same image, but sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes you can apply this the same image, but sometimes you can only apply two, or sometimes you can just apply only one step, or sometimes you don't have to do that, because the footage itself, it's already give you what you want, and you end up to the color correction. As you can see, this footage, there's nothing much we can do. That's because everything that I want to get, it's already been got to the set. So it's depending on type of look that you want to get. But those three stages that I'm telling you about creating looks, it's very benefits, and I really want you to have much about this stage. Here is a problem. A lot of beginners, they struggle how to make color grading as pro level. YouTube itself can never pull up to that level. Director Kim came out with the massive masterclass phase 1 and phase 2, which is the phase 1 has 3 parts, and each of the parts has a long pause video. Having an issue with the color senses, color management, creating different looks, fixing problems, how to balance proper your footage, shot merging, dealing with the small budget camera, everything you need to know from DaVinci Resolve. Masterclass has deep explanations. If you really struggle with creating look, Director Kim never seen enough till he made it 26 LUTs, which has look DNA and Skintone LUT and color separations. DCTR power grade also available. Director Kim really wants to shift you into next level. Have a permanent mentor who can guide you well to your journey of color grading. He decided to create a WhatsApp group for his own student member. But remember, to join a WhatsApp group, you need to buy one of his products, either Masterclass or LUT package. Now, let's back into the lesson. Right now, let me go back to my image and come into these stages. Alright, so what I'm gonna do right now, after doing my correction, as I told you what I've done to the corrections, this is my look creativity, my look DNA part. And I often like to do period notes, but for the sake of this tutorial, because it's targeted for the beginner, so it's very complicated when we're about to measure about period notes. You're going to be very confused about these things. But in case you want to do as in period notes, you can just click Alt+P just like this, and you're able to create something like this type of notes. But let me just give you the serial notes so you're able to understand. You can do the practice there perfectly. Alright, so what I'm doing exactly is just creating 3 notes, which is the first note, which is going to be vibrance. First note, which is going to be okay. Let's do this. Let's make period notes. You have to walk. We have to walk. All right, let me create the period note so you're able to understand this perfectly. The first note, which is going to be our look DNA, which is more of doing hue adjustments, and second note, which is going to be our skin tone, which is more of vibrant, the mid-tone of all the part of our skin for the people. Another one is vibrance. I'm gonna call it Vip, and another one Vip. This note, the other one, that's vibrance, is dependent on the footage that you have, and it's not necessary to do it. As I show you in the look DNA, is all about decision on what type of thing you want to achieve. All right, so my look DNA, according to this picture, what I want so far is I really would love this backgrounds to be I don't want this to be much of greenish because it's kind of look green. You can see I don't know if you're able to see before and after. Before was a little bit, the cyan was a bit of greenish just like this one, but right now is pure bluish. And another thing what I love to do is maybe this red. I don't want it to be much of a red color. I want it to be a little bit of the red that's rain on orange. I love this type of red. That's it. I don't think if I'm able to make much further adjustments. I would love that this. And when it comes to the saturation, I would love to make this bluish little bit pop, because this is commercial grade, so it has to be not much, just a little bit. You can see how far we're able to push this image. And then when it comes to the skin tone, what I'm doing is just I'm gonna select the skin tone just like this, and I'm going to reduce the saturation of the skin to make the skin a little bit muted, and it's kind of pinkish reddish. I want this to be a little bit, yeah, just like this, orange, but not stuff like pinkish stuff like that. So you can see the skin tone how it was before and after perfectly. But let's go back to this red over here. I don't like the lips how it goes, so let's bring back a little bit. That's it. All right, so another thing is doing vibrance. So I'm going to select the blue from the background over there, maybe just like this, because when you do a qualification worse, sometimes it goes to affect the other thing, which is, so in this case I often like to use gamma to push my image, because the gamma is always touching the mid-tone, the mid-range of image. So when I twisted the gamma, I'm still protecting my blacks and my whites, but I want the mid-tone. That's where I want to catch it, everything, and most of the time that's what I'm doing. So as I told you before, I want that background to be much of bluish, but also I'm going to reduce the saturation of it. I'm going to balance the light of it to make it density, not too much. As you can see, it's also affecting other parts of the image, so we have to make sure we have perfect qualify. Or sometimes you can just do mask to protect the place that you want to make changes. You know, this footage is low resolution, it's compressed the footage, so to get a clean result is pretty difficult. But in case I have full resolution image, you can see my selection will be much perfect. And yeah, so that's it. Another thing that I would love to do is spotting my my hero, just like this. I'm spotting her, and I'm just trying to vignette to make her pop, and then I'm coming to the skin tone node, raise the light. That's it. Now you can see how much clean we have. This is before color grading, and this is after color grading. This is stages that I've done. As I told you before, there's 3 stages of doing color grading. I mean 3 stages of doing look creativity. Stage number 1 is to do the twisting stages. Look, then it's creating hue adjustments. That's it. To manipulate the image, I mean the color, you know. Stage number 3 is to vibrance. Vibrance is to make them pop. Like, I want this one to come up, I want this one to fade, I want this one to jump, I want this one to be back, I want this one to be forward. That's it. And another stage, which is printing stage, which is, I mean painting stage, sorry, which is not necessary, but if you're going to do it, actually it's going to make a great magic. So I'm gonna try creating some, I'm gonna try making painting into this image, because the color grading is already done. So I'm gonna try making painting to the image. Maybe let me try to make some, a little bit of cinematic warm, and I'll push it to the magenta a little bit, just like this. Look how beautiful this image got to be painted. I just make a little bit of tints warm to the image. That's is painting. And sometimes you can try something different, like let's come to the log wheels and I try bring my blacks into cyan somewhere on here to make a nice separation. And let's make highlights more of, you know, warmer. Look at my highlights over there, you can see it's starting to get warm, just like this. That was too much. Let me reset and do it slightly. Oh my god, look how perfect we paint the image. That's why I told you painting is all about to do stuff on top of stuff. Like, I'm doing this on top of this, and this is how we've done so far, from this to this. Thanks very much for watching this video. This is Dr. Kim. Hope you really enjoyed. Hope you really got something. And I told you today we're gonna create a color grading without using any loops and packages and detail, I mean plugins, DCDLs, whatever. But in case you don't have to do all these things that I've done, you can only use one node and give you everything, which is by using my loops package. This is Dr. Kim. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys on next tutorial.